Hey, everybody, and welcome to Signals from the Frontline, your every Wednesday live broadcast brought to you by Frontline Gaming. We're your hosts, Kicker, the chief of cereal and FLG insider, Shelby, the hobby guru and the grouchiest player in 40K, and Seth, the mad dog, your competitive correspondent. Hey, everyone, what you been up to? How's it been going?
Well, I just spent 9 hours driving up to Texas with a van full of swag for the Lone Star Open. So that's been exciting.
Didn't you say something about having a swag jar?
A swag jar?
Yeah, where we can't say we don't need to say the word swag or hype. I'm gonna need Kicker to put $1 in the swag jar.
So what do you?
That was El Jefe's idea.
Oh,
what
yeah.
terminology should I use instead of swag? Like freebies? Like
shenanigans? I don't know. Swag sounds good. Anyways,
what have you been up to, Shelby?
Yeah, I don't know anymore. I think time is a made-up construct, and nothing makes sense. I don't know where I'm at. My office is like 8 different colors. My wedding is almost here. I think I'm losing my mind. It's okay. Seth, what about you?
Well, in case anyone was unaware, there's some orcs coming, and I'm super excited. Oh my god! And I have already spent way too much money. Like I've turned green already. I'm on track to spend over $1,000 this month on new orc crap.
Good God.
Does your wife listen to this podcast? Because
but I've already told her financially what is happening. She's aware.
Does she have like does she owe you, right? Like she's got.
No,
like
I just gave her complete okay to redecorate the whole bedroom.
Nice.
She's like, I'm doing new curtains. I'm like, sure, honey.
Anything you want. Anything.
Before we get going, though, I wanted to talk about Charity Hammer real quick. Kind of promo next week. We're going to have Colin Sherman on to Grim After Dark, and I'll be subbing in for Danny over there. But check out charityhammer.com. That event is a 72-hour live stream starting August 5th, which is my birthday, so you should watch because of that. And we will be going live on 3 different streams, the Art of War Twitch channel, Biff Pod's Twitch channel, and Canhammer's Twitch channel. So it'll be a blast. You'll be seeing a bunch of us. There'll be a bunch of great games on there. And I'm calling them out right now. My first round opponent in the GT for Charity Hammer is Danny Often Moist McDevitt. And I am going to take you down round 1. You may be playing the AdMech Menace, but I'm going to shock the internet and take you down with orcs, Danny.
How long has he been known as Often Moist?
I don't know. But anyway.
Did you come up with that yourself?
No. The nickname is actually credited to Colin Sherman.
Okay. Well, Colin Sherman, that's an amazing nickname there. Like I mean, we need to get him a shirt with that on the back. It's going
to be on the back of his jersey at the team event in Vegas.
All right,
good times.
That's a Kicker. Industry news. What's been going on?
Well, first of all, I want to tell everyone, if you're watching our live stream, which you should be, but in case you're not, I'm not currently in the studio with my 2 co-hosts. I am in the wonderful hotel room because I am in the Lone Star Open Hotel, which is gorgeous. I mean, there are far too many outlets in this room, which is a wonderful problem to have.
What a random luxury flex.
Yeah, I was like,
I think his biggest flex is it has a full-size toilet as compared to the van toilet he's had for the last few days.
Yeah, so I drive a lot in a camping van kind of thing, and it's nice to have a full-size toilet in addition to all the outlets. So I'm pretty happy here. But let's talk about industry news, folks. For starters, what is going on with this Warhammer World thing? Not Warhammer World. What is it? It's the old Warhammer.
Warhammer Old World.
Warhammer Old World. The Grognards.
But do you think that this is something to just appeal to the old players, or to try and get new players? Because like they've got Age of Sigmar. What's going on? What's going on here? Like, explain to me. Have you guys ever played Warhammer Fantasy, the old school?
No, I think it's scratching the itch of the people who played like OG Warhammer Fantasy on square bases and everything, right? Like, so it's going to be on square bases. They're orcs, not uruks. They said they were orcs back in the day. They're still orcs now.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's a revamp of fantasy. I wonder if it's going to be kind of small, like Kill Team style, like meant for smaller games. Because Seth, like if you. I'm curious about this too, and of course we can speculate, but talk about it some other time. But like, is it another game? Like, is it another Games Workshop game?
I very much imagine it to be the Horus Heresy of fantasy. Like Horus Heresy is kind of a spin-off, an expansion pack, if you would say, for 40K. So that's kind of how I see it. Is maybe it's kind of a something that they throw out there once. They don't update very often. It's not going to be like a full game system. Would be my bet. Is probably more just like, here's a book, here's some models. If you guys want to play it, run with it.
That makes a lot of sense.
So this is considered, I think it's called the sword and board concept, where it's all square bases and rank and file. That's it, rank and file style game system.
Yeah.
There's other game systems out there that are still rank and file. I think the Game of Thrones is that
Game
a rank
of Thrones does that. Some guys made their own rules and they called it Ninth Age.
But the thing is, I don't see them that popular. Really, so I don't know why GW is deciding to do it, other than maybe just to excite the old player base.
Yeah, like neither is Horus Heresy, really, but it brings people back. Like some folks in the chat are saying, right? Like it brings people back that maybe weren't excited about 40K or Age of Sigmar. It gives them something to be excited about for themselves, and it's an excuse to bring back some really classic-looking models. So
that's a good point. Really cool. If you've had these models sitting on your shelf for literally a decade, not doing anything, it's time to bring them back out. I will tell you that
all I have to say is Grimgore the best.
there, Seth. There.
When I got back into like the hobby, right? I tried fantasy, right? Like I was like, do I want to do fantasy or 40K? And I tried fantasy, and I built one brick of troops, like one regiment. It was like 20 guys, and it took me forever. And I'm like, I got to do this how many more times? Like, F that. Like, there's just no way. I don't know what I'm allowed to say. So it's like, put the F word.
Not that, apparently.
Not that. Sorry, I know. I mean, poop that. Sorry, I didn't say anything.
You
I said
are
a
the
letter
master of poop lately.
Thank you, Seth. I said a letter of the alphabet. No, but I'm like, seriously though, like it took me so long to make one squad that I'm like, I can't do this. I can't. So I went to 40K, and I felt like the process of building an army was a little bit faster for that than for fantasy. But who knows? I mean, obviously people like it. I think there's a lot of excitement about it. So that's going to be happening. For no release date yet, though, of course. So
sure.
It sounds like it's pretty far off in the pipeline.
Yeah, but it's something to talk about. Guys, I also wanted to talk about the concept of taking it out at the Gibraltar.
Talking it out.
Talking it out. I can't read my notes. Talking it out. Thank you, Seth, for correcting me. Talking it out. Okay, so at the big event last weekend, the top table basically talked out the majority of the game, and that's leading to a little bit of controversy. And we don't want to like create gossip and issues here. We just want to.
But we're gonna.
But we're going to, right? We're going to. Well, so first of all, there are some issues, right, with talking out the game. It can lead to like collusion potentially. I mean, not necessarily that's going to happen, but it can lead to collusion. But also, you can just like score yourself inappropriately. The FLG judges are constantly having to correct people that talk out the last few rounds, but realize they may not score the way that you're actually supposed to score. You're not supposed to just max out your points. You're actually supposed to play as if you'd played out all the rounds with your opponent not being there. But also it kind of just leads to an cinematic like ending, right? It's not exciting to watch. You know, if this is the top table at an event, just like ending on turn two is kind of, and talking the rest is not very exciting to watch. At FLG, our stance is pretty simple. We generally just don't like it. It's kind of against the spirit of the game to just if you can maybe play through 4 or 5 turns, just do it as opposed to just talking it out. What are your thoughts, Seth, Shelby? What do you guys think?
Seth?
Well, I'll save it for a little bit further along the show, but I did talk to the players involved here, and I think that scenario, we'll get into it more, but I think everything that was done there was done appropriately. Okay. But I think there's a difference between, and this is something we can expand on later, maybe when we bring our guest Kyle in. Sake of argument, Shelby, you and I are playing. It's turn 2. We're 2 hours in the game. You have well and truly lost by turn 2. You're not enjoying it. I don't want to make my opponent play for 3 more turns if they're not enjoying it. And it's a foregone conclusion, and everyone knows it. But the way the main rule book reads right now is if Shelby were to concede, she gets a 0. And that's no fun. That means you're dropping your spots in the tournament. And if you're in a higher bracket in the tournament and you're trying to get those points, it really just kind of makes people want to play for points only and not fun. And at the end of the day, if neither player's having fun, what's the point?
That's very true.
I'll expand on it a little bit more, but I think we need a system where there is some definitions in those scenarios, what can and can't be done, to limit things like players bullying someone into accepting a loss when maybe that player wasn't going to accept a loss, or bullying those players into giving them more points than they were supposed to get. I don't think that happened in this scenario. I got all the details. I'll share it in a minute, folks. But I think as a community, we just need to come up with some rules on how to handle those situations, because GW has not given us anything.
I got a note that was sent to me. I just want to read it real fast. It's from one of our ITC reps in Europe. Oh, from Germany. Really interesting. He basically says, what if the rule was you couldn't talk it out until after round 4? So you talk out round 4 and 5, basically. Does that sound, or turn 4 or 5? Does that make sense? I mean, is that something to consider or no?
Yeah. I mean, let's put a pin in that, because I've got more to add to that subject. I just don't want us to get too off the track. We will come back to this, I promise.
My only brief thoughts on it are, if it's talk it out after a certain point, that leads to players potentially, especially if they're at top tables and being clocked, and time is such a big issue, or time is so important, and would normally either push players along or have them think more on their feet. If they think they can just talk out the last couple of rounds, I feel like that would lead to players potentially taking advantage of being able to talk it out, and getting more points in that sort of way, rather than having to pay attention to the clock. Also, I would just hope that this is right. I think the only reason this was as big of a deal as it was is that it was the top table in round 5 at a big GT across the pond. And even if this does happen more frequently than that, I don't know. I feel a lot more chill about it probably than most folks do. Maybe because I'm not at top tables like ever. But I don't know. I think it's fine. They did what they wanted to do in order to enjoy the rest of their day, hopefully, and have what they wanted to have what they thought was a productive use of their time. Yeah, but yeah, Seth said that we have more details on that. It's going to be fun to talk about.
So stay tuned. All right, guys, moving right along, right? We have a little news to share with you. Currently, I'm at the Lone Star Open here in Allen, Texas, just outside of Dallas. Guys, this place is ridiculous. Like, I mean, we did a lot of research to book this place, but it was really booked sight unseen. I had never been here before. Reese, Frankie, none of us have ever been here before. The convention hall is just it's just massive, like really big. It's not as bougie or pinky out as the Atlantic City Open, but it's a legit convention center. It's just massive, huge high ceilings. It feels almost like you're outside when you're inside the hall. It's that kind of size there.
There's natural weather patterns, birds flying around.
Yeah, right.
Falcon would feel right at home.
Plenty of space for Val to fly his drone, so we can
not let him fly that drone.
Perfect. What? Why not? Party
Shelby,
Cooper.
What if he crashes his drone in the middle of your army? How you go feel?
Who cares if it's a liability waiting to happen? Let the man fly a drone.
And I was walking outside, so it's not just the hall that's pretty cool, but I was walking outside just to get a lay of the land here, during setup. Right across the street, there's BF Chang's. They don't sponsor us yet, but they should. And Cheesecake Factory, or there's a lot of restaurants right across
I'm very pro a cheesecake sponsor. I love cheesecake.
I'll work on that. I'll work on that.
Shelby, pro, thumbs up, thumbs down, cheesecake.
Is there fruit on it?
No, that's an abomination.
Wait.
But absolutely not. I've got to have some berries or strawberries, something on my cheesecake. Are you serious right now? Get out.
Yeah. You know I don't eat fruit.
All right. I guess we can't be friends anymore.
It was a good run.
Here we are.
I'll see you guys later.
Good run. All right, bye.
Bye, friend. Tune in forever to hear about orcs, guys.
Seth, I'm really surprised though. I mean, everyone likes a good strawberry cheesecake. That's just, that's just basic, human right there. All right, guys.
I'm not human. I'm an orc.
There we go. There's the problem. Okay. Well, I can respect your decision, even though I disagree with it. Okay. So moving right along, the hall is great. The area is great. And anyway, it's happening. We're setting up all day tomorrow. We'll post a few photos on the community page of the tables, so you can see how the table layout's going to be done. Little pro tip, or not pro tip, insider tip that I'm going to give right now is previously at Frontline gaming events, right? What we've always done is we tend to group the tables in such a way that if you're in the top 20 tables, you have the same orcs. That was in Atlantic City, right? It was the top tables were all the orc fields, right?
Yep.
Seth. So, well. for Lone Star, we're almost 100%. Okay, we're 90% sure going to do this. We're going to mix up the tables so that if you're in the top tables and you're playing the top tables all day long, you're going to be changing your layout. Or if you're in the bottom tables, you're not going to get
really
stuck
good.
with the exact same. Yeah. So mix it up.
I really like
so that. I mean, it's not that much more work for us. We have to it's unpacking and packing up. It takes a little bit more time, but at the end of the day, it'll make it a better experience for people to switch up the mats.
I'm not there this time, so I don't have to pack it up. So great idea. Do more of that.
All right, cool. We're trying. That was not my idea. That was Reese's idea. So yay!
Thank you, Papa Reese.
And thank you, Papa Reese.
He's probably not watching.
And guys, one other thing that I really am excited to share about this event is the hall is really, really cold, like freezing in the best way possible. We're here in the middle of a heat wave in Texas and across the world, basically, and the hall is legitimately cold. So bring a jacket. Well, if you want to. It's not maybe that cold
for a minute until the hundreds of people flood into the area, and then it's really warm again.
Yeah, right. Oh, but no, seriously, all
that gamer spunk just radiating. It'll warm that hall up real quick, Kicker. Don't worry.
I'm serious. I'm still trying to see if we can get like a Degree deodorant sponsorship. Like that's my long-term goal right now.
Was Slaughterfest GT or something used to do that? They literally had swag bags where they put deodorant in it and like butt wipes. And foot powder.
Oh, wow. Well, that's the long-term goal. Well, enough about that nonsense, guys. I hope to see a bunch of you guys this weekend, but if not, hopefully at the next event. Shelby, take it away. What's happening on in the network? What's going on?
What up? Some stuff, not a whole lot, but your usual sort of thing. But quickly before I dive into that, there's you guys are blowing it up in chat, and I really appreciate it. You guys are making me chuckle as we're moving along. Seth Kelsey, asks if you don't mind, like either now or later, telling him if there's a PO box that he could potentially send some stuff to Charity Hammer. I don't know if he's talking about like donations or little gifts or something. Some address to send stuff.
I will get an email from Colin Sherman and post it up on somewhere. Kelsey, I'll just message you directly. But I know there is an email from Colin. In fact, I will hurriedly message him in the background.
Awesome. Sounds great. Cool.
Shelby, do we have any other comments in the chat?
Just some super funny stuff. Honestly, you guys are blowing it up, including but not limited to key lime cheesecake is the best. I am inclined to agree. That sounds absolutely delicious. Somebody proposing that excessive body over should be a yellow card offense. Not going to disagree there. But yeah, unfortunately, you guys are chatting so much that it's doing the thing where like I can't scroll down and read the other stuff. But anyways, so yeah, you guys have a few things to look forward to this week, and also a few things that you guys can tune into from this past week, including but not limited to the Grim After Dark last night had your beloved Cranky Falcon as their own special guest for interviews. Not sure what they talked about, probably birds and stuff. I would assume. So yeah, tune in for that. Even if you don't
about how to fix 40K.
Oh, did they? Oh yeah, I did.
They solved it. They solved it.
I saw that quote. The Falcon feels like 40K is the worst it's ever been. So tune in for those hot takes. I'm sure it's really nice. I mean, I have thoughts and feelings that I won't talk about right now. But anyways, even if you're not a huge fan of Danny and John, which we totally are, right, guys?
No, he is my mortal enemy right now.
Oh,
he is going down.
He is the moist one.
The moist one.
Still really hate that. God. Anyways, tune in and watch the Falcon. Upcoming, so tomorrow, I'm sure you could turn into what I assume is Thursday show's coverage of the Lone Star Open, probably going over some lists and some previews and that sort of thing. I hope so anyways. And there's going to be oodles and oodles of live streams over the weekend. If you find yourself with nothing to do, or if you have things to do that are really boring and you want to watch the live stream in the background, there's going to be streams all day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, just like you can find us on all of those various platforms. You can find these streams on those various platforms. You'll find some commentary by Adam Camilleri all 3 days, so he's working around the clock. Friday is going to be featuring Peter the Falcon himself. Once again, he's everywhere. He's flying all over the place. Saturday is going to be Dustin Hinshaw. You can find him on Stutter Scrub podcast and on the Canada WTC team. And Sunday, you can listen in to the streams featuring Scary, your beloved Scary from the Scared podcast. Scaredcast. Okay. I'm not good at that sort of thing.
So-
and the art of war.
Let me hop in here because I did have a live
Sure.
update on the Biff or the Charity Hammer stuff. To be clear, the way Charity Hammer works is you can find the information on charityhammer.com's website, and donations of money get you raffle tickets for 40K product that we are raffling off. But if you did want to donate product to the raffle, because Colin is always looking for product, you can email him at bestinfaction. That's just how it sounds, bestinfaction @gmail.com. So
Cool.
if anyone
They're
needed
giving
that
away
information,
a ton of stuff, man.
oh yeah, like a beast
Sure.
snaggle box.
Yeah.
They're gonna. You guys ever do like March Madness brackets?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So one of the things Colin is going to put up is the GT actual results. We'll get if there's multiple, they'll draw for them, I guess. But whoever wins that gets a beast snaggle box.
Oh,
Nice.
all right.
Wow.
I was initially going to just like watch that weekend, but now I guess I'm just gonna have to donate a bunch of money. It's fine and make a bracket.
Yeah, so,
Cool.
like I'm donating some Space Marine stuff that I have because I have Space Marine.
Nice.
You do not need Space Marines.
You have
in your-
a little baby wall of shame. Just a little baby.
It's about to get a lot bigger.
So yeah, you've got Grim After Dark from last night, Thursday show tomorrow to hear about the Lone Star Open. A lot of streams to look forward to this weekend of all of those super, super amazing games from for the Lone Star Open itself. And I mean, yeah, next week you can look forward to probably us chatting about it, some of the results. Grim After Dark might have some hot takes, etc. No, we're probably not going to talk about it at all. It'll be like it never happened. But speaking of competitive stuff, Seth, what you got for us?
All right, so let's get back into some of this drama. Just kind of setting the scene for everyone that hasn't heard yet. Over the past weekend at the Gibraltar GT in round 5, Manny Chima was playing Malik. They were both playing Admech, and the big controversy was they talked out the game after turn 2. Now that was a big hubbub. And so I decided to reach out to both players to get the full story for both players to make sure we knew everything that happened here. So importantly,
and kudos to you, Seth, for doing that, for actually communicating with both of the players. A lot of people, like myself, are just talking about what happened there, but didn't actually go and talk to the players and figure out what happened from their perspective.
Yep. And I appreciate these guys being willing to chat with me. Like I had like a 20-minute phone call with Manny randomly in the middle of the day.
Oh wow!
He was quite happy to talk with me. So just to kind of set it's important. Manny went into way more detail than I'm going to go into here tonight, guys. Like I think I could probably had a turn by turn, dice roll recap from if I wanted to. But essentially, they were playing Battle Lines, which is that 4 objective mission. Manny took Stranglehold, Vital Ground, and Retrieve Octarius Data, which are all secondaries that you don't have to kill to do anything with. Turn 1, Malik goes first. He has the 3 Admech bombers, and they're supposed to do a bunch of mortal wounds, and he removes like 5 models. That's it. Because he's no longer in combat with the Taraxi, so all those units in the midfield are exposed. And when he put the Taraxi forward, when Malik put those forward, he left a big hole in the back of his lines. So Manny deep struck. He had 2 units in deep strike, Rangers and Vanguard. He brought them in, and then he solar flared another back there. And in combination with those, killed everything but 1 character and 5 Iron Shredders by the bottom of 2.
Ooh.
So effectively removing 80% of Malik's army. And the 1 character was trapped in combat on Malik's home objective with a bunch of like electro priests surrounding it. And Manny had 20-man blobs on every remaining objective. At this point, it's 2 hours into the game. They're on stream. It's 2 hours in, and literally Manny has to perform 0 offensive actions for the rest of the game. He can just sit on objectives, do his Retrieve Octarius Data, and he can max his score. And it's that point that Malik offers to concede and talk out the game. So at that point, they called a judge over to help them discuss the final results of the game, and it comes out to a score of 97-53. I talked with Malik and confirmed all of this with him. Malik himself is an accomplished tournament player. He's won 6 majors. He could stand up if he's being bullied. He did not feel like he was being bullied by Manny. He said he took more time in the game than Manny took, so it wasn't an issue of slow play on Manny's part or something. Now, I have heard some people express some concerns that perhaps in this type of exchange, yeah, it was clear that Manny was going to get the 97 points that he had left on the board, but would Malik really have gotten the 53? And that only really matters if like all the other undefeated players, because there's one more round. If Manny loses and then Malik wins big, maybe he passes them. And there's also some discussion of maybe this is like a tit for tat. Maybe this event, Manny gets the win, so he gives Malik the points, and then the next event, Malik could do the same if he beats Manny. I don't think that's against these. The question is it against the rules or the spirit of the game? Was it inappropriate behavior? And this is kind of the point where I think we as a community have failed, because I don't think they did anything wrong. I think it was a very clear outcome to the game. I don't think it was unsportsmanlike to let Malik get the points he got. I would do that in Manny's scenario, and I have done that. I'm just usually not at a top table at the Gibraltar GT. So I don't think these players did anything wrong, but I think people are upset because they're operating in a condition where there are no rules. Like, and this is, I'm actually going to turn back to FLG and the greatest player in 40K, Frankie Giapampa. In the 2018 SoCal pack, they had rules for talking out one round. So I think if tournament organizers start putting things in like you can only talk out X number of rounds, that'll help those scenarios. Because they had plenty of time left for Malik to basically play 2 more turns to get to turn 4, and then now we'll talk out the 5th turn. But there are no hard and fast rules on how to do that. So I think if this is a thing that players don't like, I really think this is something the tournament organizers can put a simple solution on, like Shelby was saying from chat, and I apologize, I don't know who said that in chat, but if TO set a limit on how much of the game can be talked out, I think this will end a lot of that controversy, as well as making a judge be there for the talk out to make sure that there isn't anything going on that's inappropriate.
I think the biggest pushback that I'm seeing in the chat and in general is that Malik specifically used the phrasing concede, and concession, by the way that we understand it, should mean that you get 0 points, and he did not. So he conceded. They talked, but they talked out the rest of the game, and he got his points. And I think that's the hang up for some folks, is that he should have gotten 0 points theoretically.
And I very much rules as written in the book. Yeah. And I think that's a bad rule. I'm not afraid to say it. I think that's dumb. I mean, I don't see the value in forcing someone to take a 0 who's not having a fun game. I don't see the harm in letting that player talk it out and score the points that they were going to get. I think it's extremely unlikely that we're going to end up in scenarios where these players earn enough points in a talk out that somehow later in the event they end up winning something significant. I just think it feels bad for everyone in that moment. I don't want to, everyone's playing to win at a tournament. Everyone's trying to win, but you don't want to make your opponent get a 0, and you don't want to make your opponent play for another hour or 2 hours in a game they don't want to play. Yeah. That's not fun for anyone.
No, I am definitely inclined to agree. This is a really complex question, and I think it deserves more than like the 5 or 10 minutes of attention we could potentially give it. This is clearly a big, kind of a bigger question with no real right answer, and a lot of speculation as to the proper course of action on our part. I do think the issue is that he shouldn't have said that he was conceding. But also, I appreciate that you went out of your way to chat with them, Seth. And I think that maybe there's just like an issue with communication or some mixed up lines. Like he didn't concede. They just came to an agreement about how they wanted to spend the rest of their hour.
And I think this is a very simple thing that can be put into tournament packets to kind of allow people the mechanics to concede and retain their points, and a system in how we determine what those points are. I think that's a very easy solution that'll clear up a lot of these feel bads that are kind of running around right now in the community.
Yeah. But Kara in chat says, at best, the person that conceded should score the points they actually got at that point. I'm inclined to agree. I think that's a nice sweet spot where if you concede, yeah, sure, you're definitely not getting any points for playing, like for talking out the rest of the round, but you probably should get what you've gotten at that point. Yeah, right.
You worked hard to get to that
point.
I
like that sweet spot.
Yeah, that makes total sense. You worked hard to get to that point, at least be able to walk away with what you've earned at that point. Sure. Seth, I am getting notes from our producer. Maybe we need to hit the hobby track real fast. Where are we at? With the,
Yep. Sorry.
The ITC recap. Sorry.
Well, there's not been a lot of movement this week, unfortunately. For your 40K competitive track, number 5 is still James Kelling. Number 4 is Mark Hurdle. Number 3 is the old man himself, Brad Chester. Number 2, the boy king, John Lennon. And number 1, 40K Jesus, Sean Naden. For our hobby track, number 5 is Rick Hill. Number 4, Marshall Peterson. Number 3, Noah Bedham. Number 2, JT Steger. And number 1, Lee Harris. We didn't get any more pictures for you guys this week, so if anyone's in that hobby track and wants to show off their army, just hit one of the 3 of us up on social media. We'll be happy to share your lovely army to the masses.
Sure.
For our AOS competitive track, we have number 5 is Matt Abbott. Number 4, No Aquino. Number 3, Ramon Silva. Number 2, Nicholas Branham. And number 1, Anthony Trentinelli. And Anthony, your name's so fun, but I tripped over it. Sorry. AOS hobby track. We got, again, a super tie. Come on, AOS community. I want to see some more hobby scores. I'm sick of reading the same 5 names week after week. Get in the game, AOS guys. Number 5, Brendan Dominguez. Number 4, Ramon Silva. Number 3, Gabriel Pacheco. Number 2, Matt Abbott. And number 1, Scott Reed.
These the Age of Sigmar guys can be sending us their photos as well. Like I love
They could.
They could, please. Scott, I'll see you tomorrow. Scott's flying in. Scott's our TO for Age of Sigmar here in Texas, and so
did he bring his army? Are you going to photograph it?
I'll take it with my cell phone, right? I'll take the photos. No, cool. Well, guys, let's get some more photos in. Those were fun last week.
All right. Well, Shelby, why don't you introduce our guest that has been patiently waiting in the background while we've rambled on about many a topic?
Let's do it. Yeah, just for you guys to have some perspective, right? Whenever we have these interview guests on, they just sort of like sit here in the background for the however long it takes for us to bullshit around and talk about whatever else it is. So I really appreciate it. So I would like to introduce you guys for our guest this evening, Kyle Malmberg. So he's going to be a Lone Star Open judge for us this weekend. He is also what I would like to call a Texas extraordinaire, even though we learned earlier he's not actually born in Texas. Kyle, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Kyle. What's your background? What do you do in life?
Hey guys, thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it. So I guess a little about myself. As mentioned, I am not a Texas native, but I'm currently warmed up to being down here and have met some really nice folks. So that makes it a lot better.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on. Sorry. Yes. Tell us a little bit more. I think we may have cut you off there a little bit.
No, it's all right. We get to the 40K stuff. That's what I'm here for.
Yes. That's what everybody's excited for.
Just the business. Okay. So you want to just talk shop. No, none of that. We don't want to have
Let's do it. No fluff. All right.
Okay. So Kyle, most important question of the day. What's your favorite sugary breakfast cereal? Sorry, I have to ask. It's required. What is your favorite cereal?
In the notes.
It's literally in the notes.
I was going to ask it.
Oh, I have to. Oh, okay, it has to be asked.
I'm going to say Frosted Mini Wheats because I want to tell myself it's healthy, even though it's not.
So
I appreciate that.
At least you can be honest with yourself, for sure.
Yeah. And those are good snacking cereal too. You can just take a few handfuls. Okay, sorry, we're going into way too deep here. Shelby, please take the reins.
You got it. Yeah, they're my reins, kicker. They're mine. Yeah. Anyways, so. Kyle, thank you again. So we brought you on, and thank you for accepting our invitation so generously to give us a little bit of insight into this Texas showdown, maybe from a little bit of a different perspective. But mostly, we would like to ask you a little bit, not necessarily about the Lone Star Open specifically, but about your path to judging 40K events. I think we talk a lot about judges and how they make their decisions, but we never really talk about how, if you're interested in being a judge at a 40K event, especially one as huge and prolific as the Lone Star Open, how to get to that point. And so we've had judges on the show before for mostly different reasons. And today we would like to pick your brain about how to get that sweet gig of just being able to like sit back and passively judge people. Never mind, that's a different kind of judging. But yes, being able to just judge people's rules and things like that. And also, I would be interested to hear a little bit about, and I'll ask you questions, of course, that kind of break this up a little bit, but I'm interested to see if you have any particular insight about the Texas meta, maybe how it could impact the LSO, any players that you think in particular we should look out for.
Shelby, breathe and let him talk.
Oh, no, I'm getting there. Look, this little section in my notes says background on the topic and why it's relevant. I'm providing background on the topic and it's relevant. Anyways. So Kicker got us our first question.
Because cereal is always first in everyone's life. But
guys, can we let the guests talk?
Oh my gosh. Seth, there are questions. Okay, I'm getting to the questions. I'm going to end you, sir.
Bring it.
I would love to. Kyle, I'm so sorry. What's up?
So to answer your question about how I sort of got into the position of judging, we happen to have a lot of really passionate players that judge a lot of different stuff for us. I mean, we have at least 2 RTTs a month, and that's just locally here. The Dallas Open recently, we had our own folks judging there. And although I do try to help out as best I can before the events, ultimately I love playing in the events. This time I decided to try and give back to them, right? I wanted them to be able to play in the events, and, who better to step up to be a judge than a player who's competitively minded.
Absolutely.
And, kind of to the point that was made earlier, I think a fair, fun game is the best way to play 40K. So, if I can help folks achieve that, that makes me feel a little bit better too.
Well, that's really fantastic. So you mentioned being a competitive player, right? And that's kind of a great lens that you bring to it. How long have you been playing 40K? What armies have you typically played? What is your experience with the game in general?
Sure. So I was actually really late to 40K. I let some friends talk me into it, and I only got started at the beginning of 8th edition. But from that, I had gone to LVO, and even recently at the Dallas Open, as I mentioned before, I managed to take the best Blood Angels player there.
So nice.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so that, I played against some fantastic opponents, Colin McDade and Sean Naden. I'm sure folks have heard of them before. So I think I did all right.
Yeah.
I generally try to play Blood Angels, but more so I'm a craft world player at heart. So anything really non-spiky elves is kind of my jam.
Perfect. So Blood Angels is your thing. You started early in 8th edition. You found yourself here judging at the Lone Star Open. Do you normally judge at like smaller GTs and RTTs and that sort of thing? Or is this just sort of like did you know somebody who was going to be running LSO and they were like, hey man, I know that you've got this. I know that you know the rules back and forth, right? Do you want to help us out?
So I've got this incredible ability to remember things that have no bearing on being successful at work, and instead remember tons and tons of rules. So every now and again, folks, ask me for, hey, how does this work? How does that work? And as I kind of mentioned, I do like to help out the folks that we do have regularly judging. So when it came up that we could actually have an all prior or present service Marine Corps judge team, I was all about it and absolutely knew that I had to be on there. So that's another nice little fun fact, is that every single one of our judges there is a Marine.
Well, okay, how cool.
I coordinated the event, and I don't even know this. Why are we not sharing this with more people? I had no idea. Nate, our TO, should have told me. He did not tell me this. This is huge. Well, very cool, man.
That's so cool. Thank you and everybody else who's going to be judging at the LSO for your service. That is so neat.
Amazing, guys. Thanks.
Gosh, I love that so much. So sorry. Is there something in particular that you're looking forward to about judging this massive event in particular? Are you nervous?
Not terribly nervous. No, I'm not terribly nervous, but I am looking forward to, trying to help some folks that maybe it's their first major event, maybe it's not, and they just want to have, a good event. I'm really looking forward to being able to hopefully resolve any issues that kind of come up there and make sure that everyone enjoys their weekend, right?
For sure.
Seeing top tables is pretty sweet too.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. I don't know. The idea of being able to go to a massive tournament and not necessarily feel the pressure of playing and the exhaustion of playing, but getting to enjoy the environment of the games at the same time, that sounds pretty great. Pretty
Absolutely.
great. Very cool. Do you have any particular predictions for the Lone Star Open of your own, or is there anything about? Is it like are the people from Texas made of something crazy? Is there a meta that you think is going to surprise us? Anything weird?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. The
Okay.
Texas meta is surprising, if nothing else, at least in my opinion, because people down here love the state motto, "Come and take it." Well, they love that so much that you'll find every tanky army you have ever thought to be down here. We have Custodes, Death Guard, Knights, all of it's all around.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you're not ready to take down some big baddies, it may catch you off guard. If I did have to have a prediction, unfortunately, I am going to say AdMech, but I'm really pulling for whomever can kind of break the mold and find what actually takes down AdMech.
Yeah.
For sure. I think I feel that in my bones, most definitely. Like, on the one hand, you're like, yeah, that's probably going to take the win, but man, I sure wish they don't. Well, guys, what other questions do you have on your mind for Kyle? Is there anything you guys in chat would like to ask him while we have him here? Anything about the Lone Star Open, judging experience, being a Marine, whatever is on your mind? I'll toss it to Seth and Kicker while we wait.
Well, Kyle, that we already got your serial figured out, so I'm pretty good with most of my questions that are critical. But I did want to ask: are you more of an active judge, or going to be more passive? Are you going to expect people to call you over? What's your strategy when it comes to judging?
Sure, I'm actually really glad you asked that. So I think a big piece of judging is to not be terribly invasive, but at the same time, as we did at Dallas Open, I encourage anyone and everyone who has a question to just call for a judge if you would like to, right? There's no penalty for either player for calling a judge. No one should be afraid to do so. And doing it doesn't mean that you don't believe your opponent to the point of, they're doing something malicious. Just feel free to call the judge. I totally agree with calling a judge for talking it out. Although we will only have 4 people or so it may be a little difficult at times. But, especially if anyone feels like maybe they're going to be taken advantage of points-wise, absolutely call a judge over. We'll be happy to sit there. We're all competitive players on the judging team, and no one's going to be taken advantage of in that way, for sure.
I'm so glad you say that, because I do think there is a stigma behind somebody screaming "judge" at the top of their lungs at an event and having everybody like turn dramatically around, like, who did that? And it just has such a negative stigma attached to it. But it really is just like, do you need clarification from somebody who is qualified and professional to give that to you? Here you go. That's what you're there for. That's exactly.
Absolutely.
I think, kind of to add to that, I think one of the nice things about calling a judge is if there's going to be, if you know that there's a rule that is going to go in your favor and is going to really hurt your opponent, and they, it can be a feels bad scenario for them. Sometimes it's good just to be like, hey, you know what, let's just have a judge come over and make sure we're doing this right, so that it's not, I'm telling you how it's going to be and you're going to lose. It's like, let's take the personality out of it, and let's let the unbiased individual tell us how this is supposed to be handled.
Absolutely.
For sure. I think you may have some admirers in the chat. I'm not really sure. Somebody called you a sexy ginger.
They've never told me that.
Do you know a guy named James Stratos? Okay,
good. At least you know him.
Okay, because he asked, and I'm sure he's digging for something here. Kyle, who is your favorite Necrons player?
Who's my favorite Necrons player?
Is he a Necrons player?
As he knows, my favorite Necrons player is Dino. Dino is just hands down the greatest guy out there, especially Necron players go. So.
Awesome.
Well, and you too, Max.
If to take us away, I have a lighthearted question after this, so don't worry. But I would like, you were there, you were listening. What is your take on the Manny Malik situation? Was it handled appropriately? Was it handled inappropriately? Would you have done something different if you were there judging?
I'm really glad you asked, because I did have a lot of feelings behind the scenes while you guys were discussing it. I totally agree with how they handled it. I've been in that situation where after turn 2, it's over, right? If my opponent, if I notice it as a player and my opponent's not having a good time, and I can kind of speed things along, I try to do that. But if my opponent is not having a good time overall, and they say, you know what, I know it's over, let's just figure the rest of this out. I think it's very smart to reasonably allocate points. Keyword being reasonably, of course. Because as mentioned, you don't want to give someone too much and push them into a different bracket that perhaps they wouldn't have earned if you just played it out. But at the same time, if it's a foregone conclusion like that, the scenario you painted was bleak at best. So, why take away from other people's enjoyment and just kind of wrap it up as best you can, again, in a reasonable manner.
All right. I think that was a very solid answer. I like that.
Most definitely.
Now for my lighthearted question. I believe pre-stream I saw you wearing a Team Texas jersey. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
As Team Texas, are you going to call anyone out for coming into your state and maybe stomping on your turf? Anyone that the team's got a grudge against and you're going to try to bring down this weekend?
I don't think that we really have grudges against other teams. We're just.
You could be Sean Naden. He's come in there and won a lot of big events.
I don't think there's anyone in particular we're looking to call out. That being said, I know that all of our players are going to be playing their absolute best to contribute to the team score and try to rightfully move up through the team rankings and try to knock some of the other teams out of their spot.
Very diplomatic answer. Very diplomatic.
Very diplomatic indeed. Very un-Texan of you.
Yeah, I know, right? That's his Connecticut showing. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Thank you so much, Kyle. I appreciate you enduring our questions, enduring some people in the chat just ogling over you, really. You do.
Yeah, you're a popular guy. Jeez.
For sure.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Honestly, it was kind of fun to, see what I thought of all the questions you guys had for me. And, if you ever want me on again, anytime.
Right.
Fantastic. If you guys are at the Lone Star Open this weekend, wave awkwardly at Kyle as you go by, or not awkwardly.
Or better yet, Wes will be like, that's the guy that I saw in sales.
Perfect. Awesome. Seth, you wanna wrap us up?
Yeah. So don't forget if you're going to Lone Star Open, good luck. I was going to say don't forget to go to Lone Star Open, but it's pretty hard to forget to go if you bought tickets for this event. Don't forget to check out the Thursday show tomorrow with all of the hot takes on the coming action this weekend, and then we've got the live stream going all weekend. That's all day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's 9 rounds of 40K. I'm going to be helping behind the scenes, so please watch so that my weekend is actually useful. Val and Richard are flying there tomorrow to start setting things up, so we will have the crew in post. Yeah, be safe. Thanks again, Kyle, for joining us. We really appreciate having you. You were a great guest. It was a good time. Anyone have some final thoughts before we end this?
I can't wait to see everyone at Texas this week. It's been great.
Except for me.
Except for you. Sorry, Shelby. Sorry, Seth.
It's all right. Just kidding. Kyle, we'll meet one day. And thank you again. Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Well, if that's it for us, then everyone, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you joining us here tonight. We hope you enjoyed this show and have a great weekend, and see you at the Lone Star Open.
Bye, everybody.